Hello. Make your way to a comfortable seated position. I'll begin with a quote. Mark Twain was credited with this quote, but it looks like a few others were too, so I'm not sure the source of the quote. But here it goes. Dance like nobody's watching. Love like you've never been hurt. Sing like nobody's listening. Live like it's heaven on earth. I invite you to practice today. Practice like nobody's watching, like it's heaven and on earth. Just dive into the practice. Enjoy it. Don't worry if it doesn't go perfectly. Just dive in. Have some fun. And sing like nobody's listening. Practice yoga like nobody's watching. In this sequence, blocks and a strap are useful. You may not need them, but have them handy just in case. And take a few breaths to settle in. During this practice, we'll be warming up in order to do what I call an apex pose, which is dancer's pose, Natarajasana. So we'll be all warmed up and limber when we're ready to dance into dancer's pose. Take a couple of breaths. And gently bring your hands to your side. Inhaling, reach your arms up. Exhaling, turn your palms out and lower your arms. Turn your palms up as you inhale, rise. And exhale, lower. A couple more times. Just let your arms follow your breath. The next time the arms are by your side, pause here. Place your right hand on your left knee. Take a nice deep inhale here. As you exhale, gently twist to the left. And just softly twist. And then back to center. Lengthen your spine as you inhale. And gently twist to the other side as you exhale. And then come on back to center. We'll do a few rounds of Dirga breath. It's a 3-part wave as you inhale. At the beginning of the inhale, you fill up your belly, and then your rib cage, and finally your chest, expanding as much as you can. And then you exhale completely to release. So take a nice regular cleansing inhale. Exhale completely. And we'll begin. Inhale, filling up your belly, rib cage, chest, and exhale, release. And again, inhale, belly, rib cage, chest, and exhale. Continue at your own pace. Trying to inhale as deeply as you can. One more time. And exhale completely. And breathe naturally. Come on to all fours. Coming into tabletop. If this bothers your wrists and knees, you can walk your hands forward a couple of inches or put extra padding under your knees. As you inhale, lower your chest and belly towards a mat. Think of shoulder blades together, opening your chest wide and tilting your pelvis here. Take a couple of deep breaths in, letting your chest open. And now on your next exhale, round your back like a cat, lifting your spine towards the ceiling. Breathe here. And as you inhale, arch your back. And exhale, round. Inhaling, arch. And exhaling, round. Just move through this at your own pace, letting your breath lead the way. And then come to a neutral spine and walk your knees together. You can stay where you are. With your knees together, lift your left knee out to the side, leg is bent, foot is flexed. Make small circles with that left knee. They're slow circles. Maybe lifting the knee higher, maybe bringing it forward to touch that left shoulder or arm. Remember to breathe. Remember, practice like nobody's watching. Pause and go the other direction. Lifting that knee as high and as forward as you can as you come around. And now keep that knee lifted and straighten the left leg. Maybe lift it higher. Can you bring it forward? And then lower that knee to the mat. And let your hips hang out to the left, maybe moving them forward or back to find just the right stretch. Come on back to center. And with your knees together, now lift your right knee out to the side. Knee is bent, foot is flexed. Start with small circles, slow circles. Maybe lifting that knee higher. Bring it forward towards that shoulder. And pause and go the other direction. And now keep that knee lifted and straighten the right leg. Foot is flexed. Lift it higher. Bring it forward. Breathe. And then lower that knee to the mat. And let your hips hang out to the right. Maybe moving them forward or back to find just that perfect stretch. And then come on back to center. And come on to staying in tabletop. You can come sort of somewhere in the middle of your mat here. Inhaling, arch your back. And exhale, round. Inhaling, arch. And exhale, round. Then come to a neutral spine. Come onto the tops of the feet. And gently lower your hips over your heels. You can stretch your arms forward or rest your forehead on your forearms. And now place your hands on the mat. Come back through tabletop and walk your hands forward. Lower right onto your belly. With the tops of the feet on the mat, pressing your hands into the mat. Now press your belly into the mat and push your chest forward and up. In Cobra, elbows close to your rib cage. Now press your hands into the mat. Come through tabletop and back to child's pose. And now lift your hips up. Walk your hands forward. Lower onto the belly. Back into Cobra. Hands are just resting light on the mat. Move through these shapes from Cobra to tabletop, back to child's pose. Move in any way feels best on your body. If one of these poses is exactly what you need and your body wants more, just stay in that pose. Otherwise, enjoy the movement of moving through all three poses. Think of moving without a care in the world, just being mindful of what your body needs more of and what it really needs to stay away from. And then let's meet back in tabletop when you come through it next. Come back into tabletop. Tuck your toes, lift your knees up and walk your feet forward to your hands and bow forward. Let your knees be bent or soft as you let your upper body dangle towards the mat. You can place your hands on blocks, maybe the mat, or even let your hands dangle here. Just think of a nice straight spine. Maybe straightening one leg, maybe the other, or perhaps neither today. Inhaling, arms out to the side as you rise to standing, arms up, palms together at your heart. Release your hands. Inhaling, lift your arms up, soft knees, straight spine as you fold on the exhale. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Let your body move to the breath, inhaling as you rise, folding forward as you exhale. One more time, inhaling, rise. As you exhale, fold forward and pause here. Play with straightening one leg, maybe the other. Maybe neither, just keep your spine straight and walk your feet together. Bend your knees slightly. Reach your hands behind your legs, either clasping your hands to each other or maybe clasping each hand with the opposite elbow. Breathe. Play with now straightening your legs. And release your hands. Inhale, slowly rise to standing, arms up. Exhale, palms together at your heart. And let your hands lower. Coming to the front of your mat, have your blocks handy. Feet hip distance apart. Step your right foot back, a reasonably big step back, but not huge. Hands on hips, bend the left knee. Place both hands either on the mat or on blocks on either side of your left foot and straighten your left leg. Think left hip back, right hip forward. And now think of lifting your hips up higher as you lift the right heel up off the mat. Left hip back, and then lower that right heel. Just rock forward a little bit, lifting the right heel up and down, up and down, up and down. Bend the right knee and step that foot forward. And now step the left foot back, left heel on the mat, left toes out at a 45-degree angle. Bend the right knee. And now straighten the right leg, right heel back. Right hip back, left hip forward. Rock forward, lifting the left heel up. And then rock back, lowering that heel back down. And up and down. You can adjust the blocks lower if that's available to you today. Just gently heel up and down. And now bend the right knee and step the left foot forward. As you exhale, fold forward in Uttanasana. Inhale, rise, arms up. Exhale, palms together. And lower your hands. Feet hip distance apart. Step the right foot back a little further now. Bend the left knee. Bring the right hip forward to face the front of the mat. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, lower both hands either to the mat or blocks. And step that right foot back a little further. Softly let the hips lower towards the mat. Keep that strap handy. And then energetically hug your feet together for a little more engagement. Right leg, knee is lifted, maybe that right leg is straight. And now lower that right knee to the mat and send your hips forward. And now place your left forearm on your left thigh. Lift the right foot up off the mat. Reach your right arm behind you, palm facing out. See if you can grab that right ankle. If the ankle and hand are nowhere to touch, nowhere near each other, that's where the strap comes handy. Place the strap around the ankle and pull that foot forward with a strap or your hand. And release that ankle. Tuck the right toes. Lift that right knee up and step the right foot forward beside the left. And bow forward. Inhale, rise. Exhale, palms together. Release your hands. With your feet hip distance apart again, now step the left foot back, a fairly big step back. Hands on hips, bend the right knee and bring the left hip forward. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, lower both hands to the mat or blocks. And step the left foot back a little bit further if you can. And then gently soften the knees towards the mat. Sorry, not the knees. Keep the knee lifted, soften the hips towards the mat. And then lower that left knee to the mat and send the hips forward. Just gently softening the hips forward. And now place the right forearm on the right knee. Reach your left hand behind you, left palm facing outwards. Lift the left foot up off the mat, grabbing that ankle with a hand or placing a strap around the ankle. And send your hips forward. Just breathe. We're opening the chest and straight and giving a little stretch to that quad. Release that ankle. Inhale, reach your arms up. Send your hips forward. Exhale, lower both hands to the mat. Tuck your left toes. Lift that knee up and step the left foot forward to beside the right. And bow forward. Inhale, rise, arms up. Exhale, palms together. Release your hands. Inhale, reach your arms up. Soft knees. Exhaling, bow forward. Inhale, halfway up. As you inhale and exhale to fold forward and lift, try to engage your core. It helps support your spine, and of course, it helps develop a stronger core. Exhale, fold. Place both hands on the mat and step each foot right back, coming into plank pose. Knees can be on or off the mat. And now lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. You can start with your knees bent. Think of a nice straight spine, lifting your hips up as high as you can and back. And then maybe straightening
your legs. And breathe, softening the shoulders back. Hands are just light on the mat. Now bend your knees and lower both knees to the mat as wide as you can. And come onto the tops of your feet, toes touching. Walk your hands back, lower your hips over your heels, and let your forehead rest on your hands or maybe the mat in a wide-legged child's pose. Let your hips sink back. Breathe. And then lift your forehead up, place your hands on the mat in front of you as far forward as you can. Lift your hips up, tuck your toes, and lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog, and adjust your feet so they're hip distance apart or closer. Walk your feet together and lift your right leg up in the air behind you. Bend that right knee and step that right foot forward between your hands. Inhale, lift your arms up. Breathe. Strong core, soft shoulders. Lower your hands to the mat and step back to plank pose. Elbows close to the rib cage, slowly lower down to the mat. Tops of the feet come on the mat, come forward and up in Bhujangasana. Think open your chest forward, shoulders back. Tuck your toes, pressing your hands into the mat. Now press your belly into the mat, lift your knees up, and lift your whole body up through plank pose to downward facing dog. Walk your feet together and lift your left leg up. Bend your left knee, step that foot forward between your hands. You can adjust your feet, your right foot out to the right slightly for balance. Inhaling, reach your arms up. Maybe deepen the lunge. And then lower both hands to the mat. Bend that right knee and step that right foot forward beside the left and bow forward. Inhale, rise. Exhale, palms together. Release your hands. Turn and face the side of the mat and take your feet fairly wide. Feet parallel to each other. Pivot on the right heel to turn the right toes out. Left hip back. Bend that right knee. Try to keep your shoulders directly above your hips. Right knee and foot in alignment with each other. And just play with this pose. Arms out to the side, palms down, shoulder blades together. Turn and look over your right hand. Nobody's watching. And if they are, just practice like they aren't. Reach forward with your right hand. Right forearm can rest lightly on the right thigh. Reach your left arm up. Straight line between that left wrist, shoulder, hip, and ankle. Left shoulder back. Then lower your left arm and straighten your right leg. Arms out to the side, palms forward. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Engage the muscles in your legs, your arms. Reach forward with your right hand. Let your right arm lower, left arm up. Arms and legs are straight. In Utthita Trikonasana. Slowly rise to standing and lower your arms. Bring your right toes in
Pivot on your toes and bring your heels in. Bend your knees. Adjust your feet so your knees and feet are pointed in the same direction. Vertical spine, shoulders directly above your hips. Soft toes. Arms in L-shaped position. Elbows same height as shoulders. Palms facing each other. In goddess pose, Utthata Konasana. Strong goddesses do what they need to do without worrying about what anybody else is thinking. So be that strong goddess. Play with the pose. Have fun. And then lower your arms. Straighten your legs. Pivot on your toes and send your heels out. Now pivot on your left heel, turning your left toes out. Still facing the side. Bend that left knee. Check into the alignment, the knee and foot. Arms out to the side, palms down. Turn and look over your left hand. Breathe, maybe deepen the lunge. Reach forward with your left hand, left forearm rests on left thigh. Reach your right arm up and over. And then lower your right arm and straighten your left leg. Arms out to the side, arms and legs straight but engaged. Strong arms, strong legs. Reach forward with your left hand, left arm can lower, right arm comes up. Breathe. And make your way back up. And lower your arms. Bring your left toes in and walk your feet together till they're just slightly wider than your hips. Have a block handy. If you do have any issues with your knees, you may want to avoid this pose or give it a try with a block handy to sit on a block. So heels are just slightly wider, about as wide as your hips. Turn your toes out. Bend your knees, coming into a squat. Again, if this bothers your knees, you can sit on a block at any height. You can still get the benefit of the pose. It takes some of the pressure out of the knees. Otherwise, just stay here with your elbows pressed into your inner thighs. Squeeze your knees together to your elbows, palms together. Malasana. And now release your hands. If you do have blocks, keep two handy. You can stand up for a sec. If you do have blocks, keep them handy in front of you. Come back into a squat. Place your hands either on the blocks or on the mat. Lift your heels up and walk your feet together so your heels and maybe the balls of your feet are touching with your knees out. This is where you can balance on blocks, or it's a full balancing pose. Bring your palms together. Focus your gaze. Breathe. Release your hands, place them on the blocks or the mat. Lift your hips up, lower your feet to the mat, and fold forward. And just hang out in a forward fold for a couple of breaths, maybe straightening one leg and then the other, just getting a little stretch for the backs of your legs. Inhaling, rise to standing, arms up. Palms together at your heart. Release your hands. Coming into a standing position, have your feet about hip distance apart. Come onto the toes of the left foot, right knee slightly bent, hands on hips. Turn the left knee out. Focus your gaze. So you might stay here today in tree pose. Vrikshasana. Or slide the sole of your left foot to your right ankle. Or press that left foot into your calf. Or maybe the inner thigh. Just play with a pose. See what's right for you today. And if you fall, you just try again. Maybe palms to come together at your heart center. Perhaps your arms reach up. Just play with the pose. Find the softness. Be playful and soft while finding the strength to stay in the pose, and laugh if you fall out of it. And slowly lower your arms and lower that foot to the mat. Now pressing the left foot into the mat, left knee slightly bent, hands on hips, come onto the toes of the right foot and turn the right knee out. Maybe on this side you stay here, or slide the sole of the right foot to the left ankle. Maybe press that right foot into the calf, or perhaps you try the inner thigh today. Just keep that foot above the knee if it's on the inner thigh. Arms in any position that supports your pose. Soft standing knee. Quiet, focused balance. Find that playful softness within the strength and the steadiness of the pose. And then slowly lower your arms and lower that foot. We'll do one more balancing pose before we come into dancer's pose. Come onto the front of your mat, feet hip distance apart. Just step the right foot behind you. So the right toes are resting on the mat behind you. Left knee is slightly bent. Left foot is a standing foot, so press that left foot into the mat. Palms together at your heart center. Lift the right foot up off the mat, immediately flex that foot. Engage the muscles in the lifted leg. Maybe today you stay here. Focus your gaze in front. Or if you're ready, play with lifting that right leg up behind you as you fold forward into Warrior 3. Option to straighten your arms. Slowly come on back up and lower your foot. Release your hands. Feet hip distance apart. Right knee slightly bent. Rest the left toes on the mat behind you. Palms together at your heart. Focus your gaze and play with lifting the left foot up and flexing that foot. Can you stand here only on your right foot, tapping your left toes as need be? When you're ready, play with folding forward as the left leg is engaged and lifts up behind you. Option to stay here or straighten your arms. Slowly come on up, lower that foot, release your hands. And now have the strap handy with your both feet. Just stand comfortably, feet roughly hip distance apart or so, or closer together if that's right for you. Place your left foot firmly into the mat, left knee slightly bent. Come onto the toes of the right foot. Focus your gaze in front and lift that right foot up behind you, flex that foot, and then grab the outside of the right ankle. Keep your knees together. If your right hand is not reaching that ankle, place the strap around the ankle.
lifting it up with a strap. Keep your knees together and just pause here, hang out here for a couple of breaths. Just get comfortable with the pose, play with it, make any adjustments, and then release that foot. You can stay where you are. Now press your right foot into the mat, lift the left foot up. With your left hand, grab the outside of the left ankle, bring your knees together. Left foot is flexed. Focus your gaze. Right knee, standing knee is soft. Get comfortable with this. And release. We'll do this one more time, slightly different. This just allows your chest to open more deeply into dancer's pose. So place your left foot on the mat, lift your right foot up, right foot flex. And now turn your right hand palm out. Grab the inside of the right ankle. Or if you're using a strap, just turn your hand out as you hold the strap. Focus your gaze. Feel that right shoulder come back a bit more. Breathe. And then release that ankle. Press your right foot into the mat. Lift your left foot up. And remember to turn your left palm out. As you grab the inside of your left ankle, bring your knees together. Let your left shoulder open back or grab the strap. Breathe. Pause. And release that. And now we'll come into Natarajasana. So, place both feet on the mat, left knee slightly bent. Bend the right knee and lift that right foot up. You can either grab the outside of the ankle to start, or if you're able to, turn your palm out and grab the inside of the ankle. It makes for a slightly wider chest opener. When you're ready, lift your left arm up. Focus your gaze. And then slowly reach forward with your left hand, kick the right foot up and back. And just play with the pose. Find softness. And dance like nobody's watching. Slowly come on up and release the foot. Release the arm. And now place your right foot in the mat. Right knee soft. Lift your left leg up. Grab either the outside or turn your palm out and grab the inside of the left ankle. Keep your knees together. Focus your gaze. Reach your right arm up. When you're ready, reach forward with your right hand, letting your left foot lift up and back, kicking that left foot behind you. In dancer's pose, just dance away. Come on up and lower that foot and lower your arms. Nicely done. Come onto the front of your mat. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold. Reach your hips up as high as you can. As you exhale, fold a little more deeply. Inhale, rise. Exhale, palms together at your heart. Release your hands. So now we're going to do Natarajasana one more time, because often the second time around, the body starts to figure out what we're trying to do, and maybe it's a little easier. That's the idea anyway. So place your left foot in the mat. Left knee is slightly bent. Just gently place the right toes behind you. Focus your gaze in front of you. Bend the right knee, lifting that foot up. Flex that foot, grabbing either the outside or the inside of the ankle. Keep your knees together.
And now reach your left arm up. Maybe you stay here today. Just play with this. Get familiar. Or reach forward with your left hand, kicking the right foot up and back, letting that right shoulder come back as you reach forward with your left hand. Slowly come on back up. Lower your foot. Release your arms. And now press your right foot in the mat. Right knee is slightly bent. Lift the left foot up, grabbing the outside or inside of that ankle, knees together. Focus your gaze, let that left shoulder open back. Option to lift your right arm up. Or reach forward with your right hand, kick that left foot up and back behind you. Play with the pose. Slowly come on up and lower the foot. Release the hand. Inhale up. Long, slow exhale to fold. Just breathe here, bending your knees as much as you need to. Play with straightening one leg, maybe the other, maybe both. Inhale, rise. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Let your whole breath release the last couple of poses. And let the poses be integrated into your body and mind. And the next time you fold forward, pause here. Bend your knees and come on to a seated position. Come into Baddha Konasana. So bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees open wide. Start more so your legs are more in a diamond shape. Since we have blocks today, if it's more comfortable for you, you can place a block under each knee that just supports the knees. I find they get in the way because I like to invite my knees to open, but everybody's different. So find the right version of the pose for you. Another option is to sit on a block. That gives your hips a bit more space. And with your hands on the mat behind you, just push the mat away from you, sending your chest forward. Option to reach your hands forward and grab your ankles or your feet, if that's available today. Just think of relaxing your upper back, your shoulders, your cheeks. Let your hips soften into the pose. And then slowly make your way back up. Straighten your legs in a big V shape. Again, if it's more comfortable, you can sit on a block here. With your feet flexed, make sure each foot is vertical. Sometimes the toes like to point out or in, but keep them completely vertical, your feet. Ideally, have you straighten your legs. If you need to, they can be slightly bent. Hands on the mat behind you. Push the mat away from you to send your chest forward. Or maybe walk your hands forward. Breathe. Think of letting go. Couple more breaths. Just soften the body forward. And then slowly walk your hands back. Keeping the right leg straight, bring the left foot to the right inner thigh. Turn to the left to face the bent knee. Right hand rests on right thigh or shin and turn the right palm up. Draw that left shoulder back. Inhale, reach your left arm up and over. Think left shoulder back. Breathe. For some, that left hand may reach the toes. For others, it might not. That's totally okay. Nobody's watching today. And now lower your left hand on the mat behind your left hip. Roll onto the left knee, lift your hips up, and reach your right arm up and back. Getting a nice stretch on that right side. Lower your hips back down and straighten your left leg. Bend your right leg, right foot to the left inner thigh. Gently twist to the right to face the bent leg. Left hand rests on left shin. Turn that left palm up. Draw that right shoulder back so you're facing the bent leg. Inhaling, reach your right arm up and over. Think right shoulder back and breathe. And now lower the right hand to the mat behind the right hip. Roll onto the right knee. Lift your hips up. Left arm up and over. And then gently lower the hips to the mat. Bend both knees, feet on the floor. Roll onto your back. With your feet hip distance apart, lift your right knee up, keep that right foot flexed, and place the right ankle on the left thigh. Push that right knee away from you. This is option 1. Option 2 is to lift the left foot up off the mat, bring that left knee close to you, and reach your hands behind your left thigh as you push your right knee away from you. And then slowly lower both feet to the mat. And now lift your left knee up, left foot is flexed, left ankle goes on the right thigh. Push that left knee away from you. Option 2 is to lift the right foot up off the mat, bring that right knee towards you, pushing that left knee away from you, and reach your hands behind your right knee to pull that knee towards you. And then lower both feet to the mat. And bring both heels in as close to the sit bones as you can. Keep your feet hip distance apart or closer. Arms rest on the mat. Pressing your big toes into the mat, that helps keep your knees together. Gently lift your hips up off the mat as high as you can, keeping your knees as close together as you can. And then slowly lower down. If this feels plenty for you today, just hang out here, lifting your hips up and pausing, and then lowering down, and repeat. Otherwise, to go a little deeper, press your big toes into the mat,
Lift your hips up. Now open your chest and walk your shoulder blades together. Lift your hips up a little higher. Interlace your fingers together under your hips. Lift your hips up higher again. Knees together, big toes pressing into the mat. And release your hands. Lower your hips and spine to the mat. And now softly hug your knees to your chest. Maybe rocking side to side. Or circling your knees. And then pause and go the other direction. And lower both feet to the mat. Since we have a strap today, grab your strap or dog leash, whatever you're using. Place both feet on the mat, knees bent. Straighten your left leg and place the strap around to either the arch or the ball of the right foot, and straighten the right leg. However low you need to go to straighten that leg, that's where you go. And holding onto the strap, maybe lift that leg up higher. Keep the right foot flexed. You can take the strap in your right hand and just think of gently lifting that right foot up a little higher. Keeping that left leg flat on the mat. And hold here in Supta Padangusthasana. One more breath. Bend the right knee and now place both feet inside the strap, and now lower the right foot to the mat. Lower the left leg till it's straight. Keeping that foot flexed, and then straighten the right leg. So if your knee starts to bend, lower that leg back down. You can bring the strap together and hold them both pieces in your left hand. So wherever the strap is, keep that left foot flexed. And then slowly lift that left leg up, keeping that right leg flat pressed into the mat. Breathe here. One more breath. And bend the left knee, release the strap, you can move it aside. Place both feet on the mat and place the arms on the mat away from your body. Slide your hips to the right, bringing your feet and knees together. Gently let your knees roll to the left and turn your gaze and look over your right arm. Eyes can be open or closed. Just let your body relax. And then gently bring your knees and gaze back to center. Slide your hips to the left. Feet together, let your knees roll to the right and turn your gaze over your left arm. And come on back to center. And now just before we rest in Shavasana, bend your knees and lift your feet up in the air so the soles of your feet are facing the ceiling. Let your knees come as wide as your shoulders. Bring your arms to the inside of your knees and then grab the outside of each foot. And just gently rock side to side in a happy baby, thinking of how playful babies can be. Not a care in the world.
And now release your feet, lower your feet to the mat. One by one, straighten each leg. Let each arm rest on the mat, comfortably away from your body. Take a couple of breaths here to relax and let go. And when you're ready, invite both your mind and body to come into complete stillness and rest in Shavasana. Softly deepen your breath. Bring awareness to your fingers and toes. Gently move your arms and legs. Reach your arms up over your head and stretch your whole body, each arm, each leg. And then when you're ready, hug your knees to your chest and roll to one side. And slowly make your way up to a comfortable seated position. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.